Hi, friends. Thanks for tuning in to the Mental Fitness Unscripted podcast, where our conversation will encourage your healthy living journey. Inspired by our Team Quadzilla coaching motto, Healthy Living Starts Between Your Ears, we talk about mental fitness in ways that challenge us to think about our thinking regarding topics like habits, leadership, exercise, values, marriage, parenting, and faith. Our hope with this podcast is to sharpen you as we sharpen ourselves to be all we were made to be. So let's dive right into the conversation on this episode of Mental Fitness Unscripted.
Hi. Hey, we've always been so good about knowing exactly what to talk about.
Yeah,
I do have something if you don't.
yeah. Well, how about it's your turn this time?
Oh, I always say too much. We need to hear from you.
uh, well, okay. So I'm a wee bit ashamed that I can't because it's been a few weeks since we met. I'm pretty sure our last recording we were talking about relationships, and I'm ashamed because I don't remember exactly where we left off, but I feel like we had a lot more to say. And so I want to revisit this a little bit, but my question or my idea in particular today is around this idea of um, I don't even know how to say it. We don't really know anybody, do we? I mean, you and I um, spend at least a half hour almost every week for the last, how long has it been?
It's been
4 years.
years, yeah.
And and yet, if someone were to interview me about everything that I know about who Todd is, I feel like there would still be a pretty limited amount of information that I could offer, right? And yet we're quite familiar with each other, and I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind or what I'm thinking about or struggling with or whatever. So we do have some depth of trust and familiarity in our relationship from that time that we have spent. But there's still an awful lot of things that I don't know about you, and vice versa. So um, I think in relationships, and I'm going to speak especially about men, and especially for me, I'm growing to realize how vitally important it is to have some or a few or even just one other man in your life that you can be completely vulnerable with and completely open, somebody who knows all the things. Yet that's really scary. And I think we can, so there's that. There's that part of, you know, how do you find that? How do you get that? Do you agree that it's important? But on the flip side of that, for relationships that have more of this kind of upper surface level depth of um, knowing or relating or trusting or whatever, I have found in certain instances where I learned some things that I kind of wished I had known, maybe. And I feel like maybe I've been deceived or tricked or um,
Coerced?
hurt.
Oh,
Yeah, hurt maybe that, oh my gosh, here I thought you were this, and when we're not around, you behave completely different. And, there's this whole other side of you that I didn't know. And here I am defending you, and maybe I shouldn't have. And it just bothers me that I didn't know. And I, I don't have, obviously, I don't have my thoughts all together here. I'm kind of all over the place, but
you're good.
just the idea that I want to, for the people that I'm investing in, I want to know them. and I want them to be okay with being known, just as I want to be known. And how do we do that? How do we get there? And what happens when you learn things that are very troubling? So I don't know. That's a mouthful. I didn't say it very good because I didn't write it down and I'm not scripted, but this thing weighs on me. It's heavy
You're
because it's important.
you're authentic. First of all, I need to explain to our viewership why the towel and why I'm cleaning my glasses. I just finished a really bad workout. Or not bad, a really hard workout. I did change my t-shirt because it was all wet right here. So
Yeah.
I may end up with a little collar here, but I'm still trying to cool off, and I got sweat on my glasses. But no, you've described it, and I'm going to ask you a question. Don't you think that knowing someone else is really an inside out job? Let me explain. The better I know myself, the better I can relate to you. The better I know
Mm,
myself, the more I can know you. The more I know myself, the more I'm settled and confident to learn about you. I'm not,
mm,
if there's a difference between you and I, it doesn't become this conflict, it becomes something of fascination. Oh, that's interesting, rather than, oh, you don't agree with me. And I really think this is a pervasive problem in our society right now, is that people don't know themselves. They want to be told what to think. And I'm generalizing really big here, but they want to be told what to think. They want it to come easily to them as far as information, making decisions. It's hard to make a decision. And so if somebody will do it for me, we've become accustomed to the authority figure telling us how to think. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's human nature. I fall into that trap. I think we all do. But if I step back, if I take, you remember we talked about taking that pause.
yes.
Okay. Here again, that pause jumps in here. If we take that pause and say, okay, do I know how I feel about these certain things? Am I confident with how I feel about these certain things? And then if I run into somebody that is vehemently opposed to me in those things, if I'm not settled on that and confident in it, I'm going to feel like I'm going to be attacked, or that I am being attacked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's where the offense comes in.
It is,
Yeah.
because we're unsure of ourselves.
Mm,
Okay. Because somebody
mm,
else's opinion doesn't match mine does not change me if I'm
yeah.
confident and if I've made a decision about my standards and my values and how
Mm,
I think about things. It doesn't change that just
yeah.
because somebody else believes that. But what it does allow me to do is to give them grace and movement that they can believe what they believe. And I'm okay with that. Doesn't change
Mm,
me, doesn't attack me. It doesn't. And so I don't you feel that it's kind of an inside out thing?
boy, that's fascinating because for as rampant as being offended is these
Oh,
days, if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is that in many cases, the reason why I feel offended is because I have a me problem, not it's not them.
it's not a them problem.
Wow, that's convicting. Yeah.
But
Huh.
you think about it, we've talked about our glasses. You had your glasses on the other day, and we talked about trading glasses. See, I see the world through my experiences, through my perception, through my perspective. You see the world much differently because you've got a different set of experiences and beliefs and so forth.
Yeah.
Does that make it good or bad? No, it's just different. It's
Yeah.
it doesn't make it good or bad. And if I'm okay with how I see things, I'm okay
Hmm.
with me. And if you want to take it one more step, if I listen to what you have, I may learn something that changes my perspective. But I can't listen if I'm not sure of myself enough that I can listen without being offended or, feeling attacked.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me take it one more step. You ready?
Yeah. I don't know. This is pretty convicting.
Oh, I'm first in line on this one. I'm first in line. What did Jesus Christ teach on the Mount or um, sorry, the Beatitudes? Um, he said he taught us how to love our neighbor as.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Okay, so switch that. How much do I have to love myself to give charity and to have Christ-like love for another?
Mm, yeah.
There's a great lesson taught there. I don't
Mm,
know if people watching this, if they believe in the Bible or not, but it's a great lesson regardless, and whether you believe in the Bible or not, or believe in Jesus Christ. But he taught a great lesson: love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what that requires of me is to switch that and to love
yeah. I
myself
have to love myself.
as I would love my
Yeah.
neighbor. Okay, we'll do way more for somebody else than we will for ourselves.
Sometimes. I mean, I get what you're saying, but for most of us, we have no trouble being
Self,
self-focused.
selfish.
Yeah. And so, you know, but what you're saying is true, I think in the recesses of our mind that um speaking for myself, I wrestle with this a lot that, I hear a lot of, I call him Igor. It's this voice in my head that tells me all of the awful things about me, right? That I'm not good enough, or I'm too old, or I'm too, negative this or negative that. I'm not smart enough, or, whatever. And um, what you're saying is in those recordings affects how I can respond to somebody else through their trouble or their um, offense, because I'm not healthy myself in that regard. And I think that is a huge lesson. And Jesus says it very well, to love your neighbor as yourself assumes that we have a proper perspective of who we are. Um, and as Jesus followers, we know that who we are is very, very good because God has made us very special and unique and for a purpose that only we can fill. And um, all of these kind of things, right? God sees us through the eyes and the eyes of Jesus, having um, made us holy, by Christ's sacrifice. So, we are saints in God's eyes when you look at it that way. But oftentimes, for me, I don't see myself that way. I see myself as the loser and the one that's not any good, and that absolutely is going to affect how I respond to other people. So this is uh this is pretty heavy. I was not expecting that, but that's good.
And see you being unsettled, something attacking you, you're going to defend
Yes.
because you're protecting yourself,
Yep.
and as you should. But if you
Hmm.
predetermine that, you know what, I'm okay with where I stand, any attack is going to be pointless.
Yeah. Boy, if wouldn't social media be entirely different if we all fully embraced this idea and understood it?
Well, Jim Rohn put it this way. He said, rather than being frustrated, be fascinated.
I love that. Yeah.
Rather than being
Yeah.
frustrated because somebody doesn't agree with you. Be fascinated by it. Why?
Yeah.
Help me understand. Stephen Covey, his one of his principles: seek first to understand, then to be to
Then to
understood.
be understood.
And
Right.
there is a sequence to that.
Yeah.
Understand first, then to
Right.
be understood.
Hmm. And I love what we're saying here today is that part of the first step of that understanding is knowing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we've talked about this idea for a lot, that depends on having our values sorted. And we don't usually spend any kind of time or energy to think about that. So we're kind of wandering aimlessly through life, being offended all the time because we haven't really nailed down what's important to us, what we actually believe, why we actually believe it, and having confidence in those things and in who we are. Um, Man, that's pretty good. That's
Hey,
pretty good.
you've touched on it, and I just want to bring it out. Knowing who we are, that comes down to identity. You have to have identity
Yes.
first before you can start putting values and standards together. We sometimes mix those up because we're trying to be like somebody, be like Mike,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
okay. We've
Yeah.
got some hero we want to be like. And it's okay to take some attributes from that, but you've got to be who you are. You've got to
Yeah.
have your identity. Who are you?
Mm.
Who are you,
Yes.
Chad Husted? Who are you, Todd Hatch?
Yeah.
What's my identity? And I
Yeah.
can I can take pieces from different places. Michael Jordan, great. He's got great work ethic. I would take that in a heartbeat. But there's other things that's his stuff, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not good or bad. It's his. And so,
Right.
we can take pieces of that, but you touched on it. It's knowing who we are. It's our identity. How do I see
Yeah.
myself? And see, I'm even unsettled about that sometimes. What's my identity? And it can vacillate.
Mm.
I write things. I mean, I can share them with you here. Yeah, I probably have too much, but you know, your point of thinking that out, it has to be thought out. And even if you're unsure of it still, you put the effort in. I mean, you're not letting other people make the decision for you.
Yeah. I love that. I think we could do a whole series of topic on identity because it's so important,
Oh yeah.
and because I think we um, adopt or assume false identity. I mean, it's not just a cybersecurity thing with identity theft. We actually, and I'm speaking for myself because, like you, I have things written down here about my identity. Right here, it says who I am in Christ. There's a whole list of scriptures from the Bible that tell me who I am that
Yep.
I need to remind myself of because that's what's true.
Every day. Yep.
And it's not this identity that this this Igor voice in my head will say that I'm not good enough and I'm not smart enough and you know people don't like me and
Yeah.
that's stuff I need to regularly undo, programming for my identity, and then that's a root of shaping healthy relationships. So man, we covered a lot of ground on that. That's really good.
Yeah, we ought to talk more about identity because taking on a persona, um, no, I could spend hours on this. I love this subject, but
Yeah.
I have to be Todd Hatch. That's my identity. And then I can add pieces of my values and my standards that make up my identity, if that makes sense. I can take them from other places, but I have to decide that it fits the Todd Hatch identity. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just gonna ask you a question. When you consider working out, who are you?
Hopefully I'm still me. I guess.
And
Yeah.
that's where it should start, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
And
not trying to be Hulk Hogan or, The
right.
Rock.
No, you need to be Chad Husted. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's who you need to be. And then what you go to is you go to, I have this program. Okay. I've chosen this program, which may be very different than what I'm doing. Okay. I do a lot of functional working out, CrossFit, functional, climbing ropes, throwing spears, weird stuff. Okay. Lots of
Yeah.
weird stuff. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Some people, if their identity is that they're going to be a marathoner, that doesn't fit me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's okay. But then what you start doing is you start shaping who that is. And to become a marathoner, there are certain things that you have to do. To become a mountain biker, there are certain
Yes.
very different, okay? To be someone that does obstacle course racing or yeah, weird stuff like I do, it has to be very functional. I can't spend a lot of time on, you know, bicycling up and down hills. Will it help
Yeah.
me? Yeah, yeah, but that's not my identity.
Yeah.
So anyway, but you're right. We need to spend more time on this. I think it'd be good.
Um,
Are we
the
running
other
out of
piece,
time?
I just had a screen freak out on me here, but
Uh,
the other thing I wanted to mention, just maybe as a teaser for another topic, is related to identity in that
I'm
there's
writing
great
down.
challenge.
I'm writing
There's
down identity next Friday
yeah,
in my calendar.
there's great challenge in um, being being who we are all the time. So I'm thinking of people like maybe at work where I'm going to be extra charming and extra funny because I want you to like me so that you'll buy my stuff. And then I go home and I'm grumpy and ugly and short and that's not congruent,
No.
right? And so we're all guilty of this. I'm guilty of this,
Yep.
but I think if we're serious about our identity, we ought to be able to be the same whether we're at church putting on our Sunday best and smiling that everything is fine, which we know isn't true, and at home when marriage is hard or the kids are crazy or whatever, and at work, we shouldn't be all these different people. We should still be the same person. And I think we all wrestle with that. And so there needs to be some kind of root for what is identity and who are we for real that doesn't depend on any of that kind of circumstance. So,
Exactly. Those are just roles that
yeah,
fit inside of your identity. You're absolutely
yeah,
right. They should all fit together and be congruent. Yeah,
yeah,
we need to spend more time on this. This would be
yeah,
good.
yeah. This is good.
Okay,
Okay.
let's circle back here. You asked me a question about do I need to have another male, in my case, another male that I can be authentic with. Did we answer your question?
Well, I think so. I mean, it can you can debate it, but I think it's really important. I don't know. I mean, every relationship is different in terms of how do you get there. But my challenge to myself and to anybody who would be listening is that we need to find that because it's going to help us to be better. And I think unless we're completely insane, we're all interested in being better.
You made me think of another topic. I'll bring it up another time. I just wrote it
Okay.
down.
That's good. We got to feed the machine.
Oh my gosh, we've got three things already.
Yeah.
Well, 3 weeks. Anyway, you're right. And my caveat there is I need to bring something to the party. Okay,
Mm,
here's what I'm thinking, Chad. Kind of talk
mm,
through it. and argue it with me, just
Yeah.
kind of. So I need to bring something rather than go to somebody and say, "Tell me what to do."
Yes.
I need to bring something to the party. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I agreed. And there's the vulnerability in that, because now you're sharing something that's probably quite private, and there has to be some trust that it's a safe place to do that. And these are things that we need to talk through man to man about, you know, are we the right fit for such a thing? And what does that look like for us? And this is awkward. This doesn't feel like, you know, um, sports kind of man stuff. This is down and dirty, relationship things that we're not very good at.
Right. You've got to have two people that want to improve their lives and then just make the agreement that, look, I'm going to bring something to you that's thought out. I'm 80 to 90% sure that I want to run this course, and your job is to show me all the flaws in it
Mm,
from your
yeah,
side of things. Well, flaws or questions. I shouldn't call them flaws because we're not good or bad. Just point out the stuff that you're seeing,
yeah,
and then I can determine whether it fits me or not.
right,
Let's not call it flaws, but just the holes in it.
right.
Okay.
No, that's fair.
Uh,
Yeah, because when in doing such things, the other person cannot make us change anything anyway. I mean, any of our change is going to be by our own volition, right? But the other person is required, I think, to help us draw out things that we can't see in order to inform, um, for making good decision. And, is this the right course of action, or is this a character thing that I need to work on, or, whatever's the case.
yeah. So you bringing something to me and saying, Todd, I just want to kind of hash this out. You know, I've got an idea. I'm pretty much determined that I'm going to move this way. You trying to help me understand what you're seeing will clarify your understanding of what you're seeing.
Yeah, that's very true. And we
Uh,
can't do this without another person. So
can't do
here
it.
again, I'm reinforcing this idea that yes, we do need such a person, because otherwise we're missing all of this opportunity to grow and to be better, and certainly faster.
And now we're back to that different perspective, giving us the 3D view.
Yep.
Because that
Cool.
certainly happened. Have we helped?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
It's helped
we'll
me.
see.
Thank you.
We'll see if we get any feedback from our talk today. But yeah, I think this is good stuff.
Well, it helped me. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We'll look forward to digging into some of these ideas a little further in the coming episodes.
Oh no. Now we're planning stuff. We've done it
Uh,
off the cuff so much that.
yep, yep.
Well, thank you for bringing that. And what's funny is you incorporated some of what I wanted to talk about. So thank
Is
you.
that right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, save your idea, and we'll tackle that one next
Oh, I
time.
got a couple of them here.
All right.
It's
Cool.